Temperance. And death. Okay, an end to waiting for something. A change in your patience. Let's see what else. Someone might be trying to test your patience. Magician. Yeah. Okay. Someone wants to test your patience. Okay, so when you are a patient individual and you lead with kindness, a lot of people think that you are innocent, that you don't know what's going on, that you're meek or weak, or they a lot of stupid people think that if you are patient and kind and you lead with your heart first, that you must be stupid on top of it. And it's actually the exact opposite, because do you know how much self-control you have to be kind to someone who's definitely not worthy of your kindness? It takes a lot of self-control. And the stupid thing is that when someone is trying to bullgate you, where they keep poking at you and poking at you and poking at you, and they try to get a reaction out of you on purpose. It's a very narcissistic a tactic that people use. So then as soon as you finally lash out, they'll point their finger at you and be like, see, she's angry. She's an angry, mean person. And it's just like, you've been poking at me for months. And now I finally put my foot down and you have the audacity to point your finger at me. So this is the thing. You don't really know who your opponent is until you're faced in a battle. And a lot of these idiotic people think that if they keep poking and they don't get a reaction out of you, that you must be weak. And what I have to say about those people is, try me. Fucking try me. You don't want to see what I can do to you. And just because I hold myself back in playing in your dirty sandbox games doesn't mean that I can completely demolish you, right? I will shut you up in 1 second. I'll make you feel so minuscule. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And there's a lot of people that are very quiet and kind and patient with people, but everyone has their patience tested, and there's a certain point where you cross the line. And when you cross the line, you're going to be very surprised by what you get out of someone sometimes. You're going to see something that you don't want to see, and you're going to feel things that you're definitely not going to want to feel. So I would, it's really good to hold yourself up and not play these dirty games, stoop down to people's levels, to play, to fight all the time. But there comes a time when you have to fight and you have to stand up for yourself. And that's where true warriors show themselves. So you have to be careful, or other people have to be careful when they're dealing with society, because it's like a chess game. It's like you don't know your opponent's strength yet, especially if they keep it hidden, So it actually shows more about the other person and what their interpretation of you is, because you've shown nothing to them. So you can see how dumb they are, by how they interpret who you are, You could see what people's intentions are by not showing anything, because they'll project their own things on you. So you start to realize, bullies, for example, they usually get away with it because no one really stands up to them. But it takes one person to stand up to them and knock them down. And then that bully might second guess, maybe their behavior going forward. Bullies rely on quietness. They rely on isolating their victims, so there is no there's no competition back. There's no fighting back. And then they get off on the silence. Yeah. There's a lot of things happening right now about being silenced. And of course, bullies will go through a lot of different hoops to silence people. Yeah, they'll isolate you socially, they'll gossip about you, they might even kill you. But this is the thing. If you learn not to succumb to their dirty tactics, there's nothing they can do to you. And then on top of it, if you know that you can knock them off their feet, try me. Try me. Like you want to play with the big girls? Try me. I dare you to. I dare you to say something to my face. I dare you to say whatever stupid things you're saying to my face, because the things that are going to come out of my mouth after a while, you're not going to want to come out of your bedroom. Okay. So like I can speak the truth to you and not even touch you, not even be mean to you. I could still be kind to you and rip you apart, because that's where strength is. That's where real strength is. So these dirty magicians that like kind of want to test your patience, they're stupid. They're really stupid. So sometimes you got to knock a bully down to show him or her, like, get out of my face. Don't try me. Queen of Wands. Don't try me. You think this is fake? You think I'm full of it? Eight of Wands? I'll swiftly show you the door. I'll swiftly show you who you are, and I'll still be kind on top of it. So I win twice. The Hierophant and the Nine of Swords. This might be a group of people, because again, weak people like to group together because then they feel stronger. But again, like, I don't care how many idiots band together to try and bully somebody. I can take all of you at once. I could take all of you at once. And besides that, I know every single one of you. I know every single one of you who are banding together. So you might think that you're stronger in a group because you're all idiots, and maybe like 9 idiots are better than one. Maybe. But, you go up against someone that actually is coming through from a truthful place, that is someone that actually has strength. I'll put an end to you. I'll put an end to all of you. And I know all of your names. And I know what you're doing. I've been knowing the whole time. So you want to try me? You think that I'm, full of it? I've known the whole time. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly what you're saying about me. And I know exactly what you're doing. So you want to go hide under a rock? Maybe that's where you belong, like little slugs that you are. These types of sluggy bullies, they should live in the darkness, because that's what's inside of them, darkness. And of course they're hypocrites on top of it, because the Wheel of Fortune, it's gonna be karma that just never goes away for these people. It's kind of like giving me the energy of like, okay, well, we can talk shit about you. We can isolate you. We can gossip about you and lie about you. We can exclude you from our group. But if you do any of that back to us, we're going to cry wolf and we're going to act like the victim. How narcissistic is that? And there's a lot of groups of people that actually thrive on these narcissistic tactics. It's called DARVO. Right? It's deny, attack, reverse. Go look it up and you'll see there's narcissistic tactics that are actually taught to certain groups of people in order to gaslight people into submission. But once you have enough knowledge and power and strength to realize all of the dirty tactics that people use, you are unaffected by that. You can't push me into submission. And I also know exactly what you've been doing the whole time, which is really funny. So try me. Try me. If you don't think that I know, I'll keep proving it to you. And I'll still be kind to you. And like you could see the propaganda that certain groups do. They use this weird, very hypocritical way of life. It's like, we could do this to you, but if you even say anything about us, you're going to get in trouble. Yeah, 4 wands. Marriage and the Hierophant, and Wheel of Fortune. Karma, and the 3 of Wands. So, you can keep going on and plan your life. You can just remind yourself to be careful with whatever groups that you're associating with, because certain groups are not going to be good for you. They will do all the things that they're taught, and you just have to accept that certain groups of people are just not good. Of course, there's good-hearted people in all different shapes, colors, sizes, locations, all that, right? But there's also, certain groups of people that are brought up being taught how to gaslight people on purpose, how to attack people, and always be on the offense. The hypocrisy of some groups of people is astounding. I'm not going to get into details or name people. You can see it in Hollywood. Who owns Hollywood? If you even say one word about those people, they will call you names and label you as a hater. But meanwhile, they're doing all this shit, a mountain of shit against other people. Do you find it interesting that Hollywood doesn't portray certain religious groups in a bad way? It's always one certain religious group that's portrayed as the bad guy, and there's not the other type of religious group that is never portrayed in a bad light. There's bad priests, there's bad rabbis, there's bad, everything. Every religion has good and bad in it, okay? But if you're dumb enough to look at movies and believe the propaganda constantly, it's your fault.